and welcome back to my channel and welcome to a brand new series. If you saw last week, I did the introduction for the series and I'm here with the first episode. I'm going to try and keep these videos not too long, not too short, but the right amount of time. But before we get into it, my name's Amelia, I'm 26. I finished uni a few months ago and I am currently trying to find a job. And I am doing this series until I run out of topics to talk about. So I do hope you enjoy this series. If you do, please give it a thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe, and follow my social medias. That should pop up somewhere in the video. And without further ado, let's just get on with the video. Okay, so for the first video of the series, I'm going to be talking about change. I've got some notes on my phone to look at because I did want to write it out a little bit so I knew what I was talking about. But the first one is about how change is a very difficult time in people's lives. It's very, as the title screen was said on a quote, it says, any change, even change for the better, is always accompanied by discomforts. And I think that is so true. I think it's a very normal thing as well to feel scared, uncertain, anxious about a change in your life, and whether it is good or bad. But change has to happen, and I think it's one of those things that a lot of people, including myself, try to avoid because they're comfortable. And it's kind of basically a good way to explain change is getting out of your comfort zone. And most changes will throw you out of your comfort zone, which is why people don't like it, because they're used to one thing. They don't want to upset that. They don't want to change that. For example, before university, I was so used to being in my room, not really socialising, very much a homebody, would sit and play games, do stuff on my computer. I was doing blogging. I wasn't using YouTube at the point. I was just blogging, and then I made this crazy decision to go to university because I was watching a lot of my friends go, and I was really missing education because I didn't really enjoy college. So I was really missing that atmosphere of education. I kind of wanted that experience of uni, going out, making friends, actually having a social life, but I was so scared. But if I didn't take that leap, my life would be so different right now. And there's a possibility I'd be in the same position as I was nearly 5 years ago. Nearly 5 years ago, I couldn't meet new people. I'd be too scared. Even when the opportunities came up to meet new people, I'd be like, no. I'd pull myself away from it because it would be just easier than being in the situation of making new friends. I wouldn't be able to talk to guys. I'd be on Tinder and I still wouldn't be able to talk to guys. Or I'd be talking to someone and when it came to the point of go, hey, do you want to meet? I'd be like, no, I don't want to meet because I was too scared. I'm too shy. And uni kind of brought me out of my comfort zone of being the shy girl I was and became maybe a bit more of a confident girl, happy girl. And that was all because I took the chance on this change of my life. And again, this change was my own decision. When some changes happen out of force, it has to happen, whether you like it or not. But I was very lucky that this change was my own decision. Something I did write down, and it is true, is no one likes to be out of their comfort zone. But if you want to move forward with your life, you kind of got to accept that change is going to happen and embrace the change that happens, because then you're going to actually see a different part of your life, and your life will be, I wouldn't say so different, but you'll start seeing changes in your life, and they will shape who you are as a person. Another thing I found, so I'm just going to have some water. Something else I have found throughout change, and when things have changed in my life, is it can motivate you. I feel like having a change of scenery, for example, it sounds so silly, it's just a change of scenery. But going to somewhere else can really motivate you with your life. So, for example, in the first lockdown, I came home from uni and I stayed here for 3 months. And do not get me wrong, I felt like being at home for the first lockdown was the best decision I made because I was not in a great mental space anyway. But it was very hard for me to be motivated whilst I was at home because I don't like being home. A lot of people know that I'm not a person who prefers being back home. I preferred being in Portsmouth. It was just something different and it was nice. So when I went back to Portsmouth in July that year, my motivation went skyrocketed from down like below to the highest level it's ever been. And then, of course, at times, because I had stayed in Portsmouth for so long, the motivation decreased. But all in all, it did motivate me, and the change really can motivate you whether you realise it or not. Another thing it can do is it can lead to new and exciting opportunities, um, whether it's giving you the chance to move somewhere, meet new people, because that is an exciting opportunity. You can meet maybe the love of your life. You can meet your best friends. For example, if you stay in one job forever, you're never going to meet new people because you can, for example, I was working in a shoe zone. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm back there. And do not get me wrong, people I work with are not that bad, but they're not people I choose to hang out with after work. Like, they're not, because they're not in my age range. I couldn't go, let's go to the pub for a drink, because they're not in my age range. I moved to a job called Hollywood Bowl, which a lot of people, if you've watched my vlogs, will know my experience from that place. Maybe not know my experience because I haven't actually spoken about it. I don't know if I should, I don't know if I could, but all I say is I worked in Hollywood Bowl, but alongside this I made some of my closest friends, and that wouldn't have happened if I didn't change jobs. Like, I made some of my closest friends. I went through a lot of things, a lot of experience and emotions at that job, but I met some of my best friends there, and I'm very glad I did because I wouldn't have met them if I didn't do that. And I did write this down because I would have literally forgotten. But again, also, you could have new opportunities like job offers or job opportunities or job promotions. A job promotion is a change because you're used to one thing and then you're being promoted to something higher. So you're like, oh no, it's a change. And that can be very nerve-wracking. I always get nervous just by starting a new job. So bearing in mind if that happens, getting promoted and having a higher job is more nerve-wracking as well. Luckily for me, I can embrace change very easily, even if I am nervous. But another way to do it is you can get good opportunities. For example, what I mean by new opportunities and exciting opportunities is, for example, if you lived in the middle of nowhere, like in some ways I live in the middle of nowhere because no one knows of this town unless you mention it to them and they're like, where's that? And you're near Gatwick and they're like, oh okay, it's near Gatwick. It's not really in the middle of nowhere, like it's not countryside, but you are in the middle of nowhere technically. And then you move to London, which is like the busiest place in England, one of the busiest places in England. You're going to have more offers and opportunities. You're going to have more opportunities to meet new people, more places to go, more job offers because there's a lot of places that will be hiring in London. And the opportunity to explore different places, which is just an excitement, a complete excitement if you take the change. Another thing I'll say is a change can be helpful for you to move on. It doesn't seem like it at first, but for example, a change of location after going through a breakup. I'm not saying at the age of 18, if you break up with your boyfriend from school, that you could just move out and you can move to a different city, because it's not that easy. But actually at 18 you could. If you broke up before you went to uni, or when you were at uni, you have the chance to, it's a change of environment can help you move on because it's just so different. A breakup is a bit drastic, but I do have my own example for this, for the help of moving on. Because this whole topic came to me because I struggled with change last year in 2021. I was coming to the end of my tenancy in my old house in Portsmouth, and I had a few months left of my masters, but there was no point in me living somewhere else in Portsmouth and wasting more money. So I moved home, and I had to move home, and I didn't want to move home, and I was very much struggling with accepting that I was leaving Portsmouth, to the point where I couldn't accept the change, and it took me until like probably a few days before I left to realise it's a good thing because I can move on from that time of my life. Like if I stayed in Portsmouth longer, like maybe I'll move back in the future, but at the time if I stayed there now, I wouldn't be moving on from my uni life because all I would be thinking about is my uni life. But then alongside this, moving home gave me the impact that I had to leave my old job at Hollywood Bowl, and people who know me, if you know how bad that job affected my mental health, and in the end it was probably the best decision to move home because it gave me the chance to move on from that job. I don't think I'll forget that job for a long time because it really, really was a bit traumatic, but probably not. It's probably I'm making it a bit more dramatic than it actually was, but there was times when it really did affect my mental health. So it will take me a while to forget about it, but I have moved on from it. And in the end, I got the job I've been wanting since I was 16 years old at the theatre, and that would not have happened if I didn't move home. So you can see how change has actually positively impacted my life over the last few years. But if you don't embrace it, you won't be able to accept what it's going to bring. My last point to say about change is one thing it will definitely do, whether you embrace it or not, it will happen. Automatically, this change is going to happen to you, whether you like it or not. So you kind of have to either accept it and embrace it and use it as a motivational point, or you choose to ignore it and it just happens anyway, and it just really impacts your life in a negative way, which I get if it's a change in the negative side, it can be a bad thing, and it can be hard to accept at first. But if you embrace the change, it can kind of help you understand it and a little bit more. So that's what I have to say about change. Before we end the video, I'm going to end it on 2 quotes that I found that I really like about talking about change. Okay, sorry for the quality change. I am filming the last bit on my phone. I'm not sure where it cut out on my camera. Batteries ran out on me, but I'm really hoping it kind of cut off near the end. But I'm just going to end on my favourite quotes. So, and if it did cut out, I will maybe pop a little clip in wherever it cut out once I found out. My favourite quotes that relate to this topic, apart from the one that you see and heard at the beginning, is "We cannot become what we want by remaining what we are," which was quoted by Max Dupree. I think that really does say that you need to change, otherwise you're never get, or like maybe not you need to change, but something needs to change if you want to get somewhere. Like, for example, something won't change, something won't become what you want it if it doesn't change. I don't know, like anything. But I really like that quote. And another quote I had is, "Change begins at the end of your comfort zone." And because I said that change is basically, you're scared of change because it's your comfort zone, as I said at the beginning, that quote really stood out to me, and that was done by Roy T. Bennett. I will try and add quotes to every single episode of this because I think quotes can also be really inspirational and really helpful. So yeah, I do hope you enjoyed the first episode of the series. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please ignore the nail, the fact that this has no nail because I broke it yesterday. And please give it a thumbs up, please comment down below. Please subscribe and hit your notification bell so you can be updated when I post another episode. And check out my weekly vlogs on the weekends. And yeah, follow my social medias. And I love you guys loads, and I'll see you guys very soon.